Welcome to the Code Podcast. Join Kennedy Lucas, Terry Lester, and Jackson Smith as they break down the biggest plays, share locker room banter, and keep it 100 on sports hot takes. Gear up, because this is where the real talk begins. Cause this is where the real talk begins. Gear up. Cause this is where the real talk begins. Gear up.
Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to Code Podcast ATL. I'm your host for today, Mark Monroe. Kennedy is out for today's episode as he prepares for East Forsyth Broncos versus Forsyth Central Bulldogs tonight. Today we're diving deep into the upcoming sports news with insights from our panel of experts. Stay tuned now. Yukon Huskies star Azee Fudd appeared on Instagram's Close Friends Only podcast with her former college teammate and now Dallas Wings star Paige Bueckers, and the entertaining moments were plentiful. Just under a month ago, Bueckers at long last seemed to officially confirm that she and Fudd have been dating. The national champion backcourt duo bantered together throughout the 12.5-minute conversation, which covered a wide range of topics. From their favourite WNBA players to when they first felt they connected, here are some of the best moments from Fudd and Bueckers' appearance on Close Friends Only. Probably Paige Bueckers, Fudd said without hesitation when the question was posed. Replying to the same question, Bueckers went with Minnesota Lynx star Napheesa Collier. After some light teasing from Fudd about the prospect of the Wings guard choosing herself. What can one find on Bueckers' close friend story? Lots of trolling, apparently. Fudd asked Bueckers what kind of posts make it only to her close friend story, a feature of Instagram that allows you to share posts to select followers. She had a simple answer. I would say a lot of trolling posts, Bueckers said, where I'm just clowning stuff that is exclusive to the friends. When Fudd responded with, heavy on the trolling though, Bueckers kept things blunt. I try. The connection was instant between the two. The first question asked in the segment's introduction was when the pairing realized they would be so close. Almost kind of immediately, Fudd said from an on-court perspective, but noted she thought it took some time for the two to click off the court. We had this on-court chemistry, and you don't remember me off the court, a bemused Bueckers added. Bueckers clears the air on a common misconception on the topic of style and fashion. Bueckers was quick to clear up something. There's like I don't want to say a large controversy, but a misunderstanding that we share clothes. Azee takes clothes out of my closet, Bueckers said. There's never like Paige took Azee's clothes. Fudd didn't refute the notion and says she looks to take inspiration from Bueckers' feel for fashion. You like to step out of the comfort zone and do bold things, Fudd said of Bueckers' style. I hope that will rub off on me. With 4 weeks left in the WNBA regular season, it's easy to predict the Minnesota Lynx will be the number 1 seed in the playoffs and that Napheesa Collier continues to be the MVP favorite. But there's still a lot to be determined, and the hot takes
such as the expansion Golden State Valkyries will make the 2025 playoffs. Don't seem much like going out on a limb now. By the same token, because of injuries and player movement, some of the lineups on court recently couldn't have been predicted, but now seem pragmatic, if nothing else. Getting to the end of a 44-game schedule with your team intact, likely not going to happen. Making it to the postseason as healthy and cohesive as possible is the goal, but in some cases just getting there at all will be a success. A few more twists, turns and surprises are likely on the way. In the meantime, ESPN's Kendra Andrews, Kevin Pelton and Michael Vopel offer 8 hot takes on the WNBA season.
Huh?
Thank you.
Hey, you mean I'm probably say their actual original referred, right? Hey, what's the people declare was over third for places? Woody's not talking, or I'm here. What in words?
Word it? Yeah. When you go helping there.
And you, Yaman, and their kilo. It must be you.
He goes feet. What about this guy?
Oh, you want a particular mini?
What a player, not the same. Dewey nor do.
Atlanta will finish ahead of New York for the number 2 seed for much of the season. The reigning WNBA champion New York Liberty looked like the top team or number 2 team in the league. But on Wednesday, the Atlanta Dreams win over the Seattle Storm, combined with the Liberty's loss to the Las Vegas Aces, moved Atlanta to a half-game lead over New York in the standings. The Liberty have a 2-1 edge over the Dream in their regular season series, but the two meet again Atlanta in 10 days. According to ESPN Analytics, the Dream have the easiest remaining schedule in the WNBA. Though they face the Storm, Valkyries, Aces and Lynx heading into their matchup against the Liberty, Atlanta then will play the Connecticut Sun 3 times, the Los Angeles Sparks twice and Dallas Wings before the regular season ends. New York, meanwhile, has the 8th most difficult schedule, playing Las Vegas, Minnesota twice and the Chicago Sky before heading to Atlanta and then facing a handful of teams in the playoff race to close the season. The Liberty are also still awaiting the return of Brianna Stewart, bone bruise, who said she hopes to be back by the end of August, while the Dream just got Brittany Griner and Ryan Howard back. Atlanta has hit its stride over the last month, winning 6 consecutive games and going 8-2 in its last 10, and looks capable of overtaking the Liberty to secure the number 2 seed. K.L.P will return this season, but Angel Reese won't. Last year's top 2 rookies are currently sidelined, a groin injury for Clark and a back injury for Reese, and neither the Indiana Fever nor Chicago Sky have announced timetables for them to return. There is a chance neither comes back for 2025. They're going to be league standouts for a long time, and perhaps it's best for them to focus on healing completely for next year. That said, both undoubtedly want to return and finish this season, but there's likely less incentive for Reese, who last played on July 29th, to return. The Sky, 8-24, aren't going to be a playoff team, considering their loss to Connecticut on Wednesday. They might even drop behind the Sun, 6-26, for the league's worst record. Unless the bottom completely falls out, the Fever will be in the playoffs for the second year in a row after a 7-2%.
When the Detroit Lions line up for their Week 1 opener against the Green Bay Packers on September 7, many fans' eyes will be on the men calling the shots on both sides of the ball. New offensive coordinator John Morton and defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard have taken over the roles after previous OC Ben Johnson and DC Aaron Glenn landed head coaching jobs with the Chicago Bears and New York Jets, respectively, this offseason. The Lions are 4th team since 2000 to lose both of their coordinators to head coaching jobs in the same offseason, joining the Eagles 2023, Bengals 2014, and Chargers 2007, according to ESPN research. Shepard, 37, who spent 8 seasons 2011 to 18 in the NFL as a linebacker for the Bills, Colts, Dolphins, and Lions, enters his 5th season with the organization, having arrived in 2021. He served 1 season as outside linebackers coach before being promoted to linebackers coach in 2022. Before joining the Lions, he served as a director of player development at LSU, where he was an All-SEC selection and team captain. Morton, 55, was the Lions' senior offensive assistant in 2022. He spent the past 2 seasons as Denver's passing game coordinator, a role in which he helped Broncos rookie quarterback Bo Nix flourish last season. He also has served in offensive assistant roles under John Gruden with the Raiders, Jim Harbaugh in San Francisco, and Sean Payton in New Orleans. Coach Dan Campbell lost a total of 8 assistants following the Lions' franchise best 15 to 2 campaign in 2024, but he says he's been impressed with both of his new coordinators so far. Both of those guys are very detailed. Strength, there's a number of things they have. I think more importantly, it's about the detail, Campbell said. Johnny talks all the time about RC, recognize, communicate, and execute. That's big for us as coaches. That's big for players, too, he said. And Shep, is no different than that. Shep is about the details of what we do and having the ability to get into something per what the offense is giving us. Even on the heels of back-to-back NFC North titles and earning the top seed in the conference last season, Shepard says he doesn't feel overwhelmed by the challenge and the expectations ahead. He credits Campbell and Glenn for preparing him for the role and says the support staff Campbell has built around him will allow him to lean on their expertise. I told the players the other day in the defensive unit meeting, this isn't my stuff I'm saying. This is our stuff. I'm not ever going to stand up here and say I'm some genius guru and I invented football, Shepard said. I have allowed my staff to have ownership in their respective positions. I allow input from everyone, from top to bottom. If there's a why behind it, it's going in. These guys know that. So I think that allows them to work harder. The trust is there. There's no looking over your shoulder. For Morton, who has nearly 3 decades of experience under his belt, stepping into his new role after Johnson's success is a challenge to be relished. In Johnson's 3 seasons as a Lions offensive coordinator, 2022-24, Detroit led the NFL in points per game, 29.0, including a league-high 33.2 PPG last season, ranked first in red zone touchdown percentage, second in expected points added, third in offensive efficiency, and third in yards per play. Despite that success, the Lions failed to reach the Super Bowl. Morton said he is looking to change that. I don't feel pressure. The good thing is, I was here a few years ago, so that helps a lot. Morton said, a lot of these players knew who I am, and we're all still getting to know each other. This is my 27th year. You should always feel pressure, but I don't feel anxious or anything like that. I feel very confident. We'll see how this goes. We're still in the process of all learning each other, he said. So, what are the Lions getting in Morton and Shepard this season? We asked Lions players, as well as a surprise coach, about their strengths, coaching style, departures from Johnson and Glenn schemes, what fans should expect to see from each unit, and more. Here's how Detroit's new coordinators are being received so far. Answers were edited for brevity and clarity. Morton, running back David Montgomery. He got a different kind of humor. It's like an old person's humor. He's funny. He was here before me, so he knows this offense already. He's petted this offense. So it's not really like a bunch of different stuff, but he's definitely got his own spin and twist to it. Shepard, cornerback Emmett Robertson, his energy. You can tell he's passionate about the game, about us, and about his job. You want it no other way when you've got a coach like that, and what I think stands out, of course he comes with passion and all that, but he holds his players accountable and he's real with it. That's how I like it. And I'm pretty sure guys on the defense and team like it the same way. Linebacker Derek Barnes, passionate, I'll tell you that. Really, really passionate. And when you don't know him, it can come off as strong. But I started to figure out real soon that this guy loves the game and loves to make people better. He loves to put confidence in players. And once you gravitate towards that, you start to understand him. He's a guy you want to play for. He's a guy you want to lay it all on the line for. Edge defender Marcus Davenport. I remember last year there was a willingness to work with your players to better make the system for them. So I can continue to see that. What are their greatest strengths? And how will they help the team the most? Shepard, cornerback Terrion Arnold. One thing about him that separates him as a coach is he doesn't throw his players under the bus. Like, he's been in a meeting before and a player has messed up and he said, that's on me. Instead of saying, okay, you mess up this assignment, and we do the same thing. So it's just him reiterating details. Barnes, he's very aggressive, which we like as a defense. He has confidence in our defense and the ability we have, whether that's rushing or cover one, knowing our DBs are going to lock receivers down. Once the coach has confidence in you, then you will have confidence in yourself to be able to produce. He's awesome. He's doing a great job. He's leading. He's holding all of us to a high standard and allowing us to play free, but also do it at the cost of not costing our teammates on the field. Davenport, ownership. It's a control and just applying that control individually so we can all work together. Morton, Quarterback Jared Goff. I think his ability to listen to his players is massive. He's got no ego. He's very open to listening. He wants to know what we want to do. He's very open with listening to me, and I feel like I've earned that, but he's very open to it and collaborative, and it's fun. It's really fun to be a part of an offense for not only myself, but the leaders like Amon RST, Brown, Pini Sul, Taylor, Decker, to be able to give that input and to have it express itself in the plays. It's been fun. It's been great. Tight end Brock Wright. I just say passion for the game in general. He works his butt off, and he's in the building probably more than anybody. He just cares so much about helping us get to where we need to get as an offense. Every single day, he's bringing some fire to the room and excited to put us in positions to be successful. You just kind of need energy as a whole like that on the team, and you can't let that die out. It's a long season, so you've got to bring that kind of energy every single day. Shepard, Arnold on Shepard, Glenn, groomed Shep, and with Shep just being younger, we really gel with him. If you really want to be honest, Shep would be out there playing right now. Having a coach that's seeing the game the way that we're seeing it and with the competitive spirit that he has, and allowing us to go out there and challenge. Me, being able to tell Coach, like, hey, Coach, I want this guy right here. Let me get him. And he's like, all right, TA, I'm going to give you the opportunity to get him. So just that player-trust relationship and having somebody that would go to bat for you. Barnes on Shepard. I can't talk too much about the playbook, but I'll tell you this. He learned a lot from A.G. Aaron Glenn, and he knows A.G.'s defense, and we have the same players. So you don't want to change too much because it was great stuff. He took a lot of good stuff from A.G., and I think it's going to be good for our defense. Safety Kirby Joseph. A lot more expectation because when Glenn was here, I wouldn't say we were in a development stage, but in that stage of getting guys right. Now, I feel like we know what to expect, and not even with the coaches. But Shep is putting a lot of the players to make calls and understand what's going on in certain situations. Because it's a lot of young guys who grew up like myself. This is going to my 4th year. So it's a lot on my plate to understand what's going on and get guys right. Morton, wide receiver Amon RST. Brown, I would say it's a mix of like 50-50. He's kind of grabbed stuff from his offenses, kind of kept stuff the same from the offense we had, and just kind of mixed everything in. A lot of the stuff we know, but some of the stuff, obviously, we got to learn, and it's new stuff. So it's a mixture. What should we expect to see from their units in 2025? Shepard. We should be playing at a high level. And for me to say anything else is unacceptable, and my players know that. It's a standard here. It's been set before, and we're raising that bar. We want to play at a high level on defense. I told the room in my first speech to them, I'm not setting any goals, expectations, or any of that stuff. I know the makeup of the room, and I truly believe if we attack every day and if we improve, I think we can turn into a dominant unit. Morton, former NFL coach, and Morton mentor John Gruden. He was here with Ben Johnson before. He helped put the offense in initially. Jared Goff. That's going to do a lot at the line of scrimmage. You're going to hear RC a lot. I used to have hats made. Recognition leads to communication. And if we can do that, we're going to execute at a high level. But I think RC is the slogan that you're going to hear a lot around here and probably feel like you're seeing a lot. You're going to see a lot of pre-snap movement where you're trying to recognize what's going on, and you're going to see communication. Then you'll see Jahmer Gibbs, ST, Brown, and Sam Laporta executed at a high level. Lions running back Craig Reynolds. Him demonstrating routes in meetings is great. It seems like he still thinks he got it. He'd be out there trying to do the moves at the top of the route, showing how he wants it done. A lot of head and shoulders, a lot of grunting. So it's fun. He's very animated. He keeps the meetings live and energetic. Barnes on Shepard. That's a guy that believed in me when nobody else did. I mean, from when I first came in, he used to call me Baby Ray Lewis. And he gave me a lot of confidence. And I think it really helped my game turn around and my mental most importantly. I wouldn't want him to change for nobody. Continue to be who he is. Continue to be passionate. Morton. Gruden. He is a hardworking guy. For all the Detroit fans, what you don't see is the work ethic you're getting. This guy is nuts. People thought I was nuts. This guy is freaking nuts, man. He loves it. He's a creative guy. He's a great competitor, and I can't wait to see the Lions open up the season.
When summer arrived and his pitching progression intensified, Shohei Ohtani essentially stopped running. In an attempt to preserve his body for the added stress it was about to endure, Ohtani stole just 2 bases throughout June and July. Now, even as he approaches the workload of a traditional starting pitcher, the aggressiveness that helped make him the first 50-50 player in baseball history is showing up again. In 12 games in August, Ohtani has attempted 5 steals, a shift Los Angeles Dodgers manager Dave Roberts attributes to the urgency of this moment. The Dodgers are reeling. Ohtani is looking to maximize his opportunities to help, and so he's forcing action. It's a small part of a bigger conflict between what Ohtani can do and what the Dodgers believe he should. Ohtani has established himself as the Dodgers' best hitter and has quickly become one of their best pitchers, but the convergence of those skills has come at a time of competing interests. On one side is a bullpen in shambles, an offense in disarray, and a 9-game division lead that has been reduced to a 1-game deficit. To a San Diego Padres team the Dodgers will host this weekend, in a span of 6 weeks. On the other is a man still getting reacclimated to a 2-way role, and a team hell-bent on preserving his health. On Wednesday night, in the middle of what became the Dodgers' 4th straight loss, Ohtani pitched into the 5th inning for the first time since a near 2-year hiatus from pitching. With that, he also approached a limit. Getting stretched to 6 innings this season is unlikely, Roberts said. Extending beyond that is practically out of the question, no matter what occurs over this next month and a half. The Dodgers, still analyzing how Ohtani the pitcher impacts Ohtani the hitter, are trying to keep the long-term front of mind. It's not easy when you're kind of in it and you're competing, but he's just such a valuable player to us offensively, as a pitcher, and so to push for an extra inning, or call it 5 extra innings in totality, it's just not worth it, Roberts said. There's just way too much downside, instead of just staying the course. We all feel comfortable with our plan right now. In the wake of his first Tommy John surgery during the COVID-19 shortened 2020 season, Ohtani struggled mightily while resuming a 2-way role. In 2 starts spanning 1 2/3 innings, he allowed 7 runs. In 153 at-bats, he tallied 29 hits. This time, success has been almost immediate. Ohtani has continued to produce like one of the game's best defensive players and has also put up a 3.47 ERA with 32 strikeouts and only 5 walks through his first 23 1/3 innings as a pitcher. He is throwing the hardest fastball of his career, averaging 98, 3 miles per hour, and is getting incredible results from his slider, which carries a whiff rate of 56.5% and an expected slugging percentage of .134. Ohtani threw several variations of cutters and sliders during his previous run as a 2-way player from 2021 to 2023, in addition to the more horizontal sweeper. One of his current sliders, Dodgers pitching coach Mark Prior said, has been thrown with more downward movement to complement a splitter he still doesn't have great feel for. It speaks to some of the traits that have resonated with Prior while working more closely with Ohtani this season. An analytical bent, a knack for quickly applying intel, and an ability to deviate when needed. He's got that trait, Prior said. He's able to put things into practice, and when things aren't working, he's still able to find ways to beat you. Ohtani pitched from the stretch during every one of his 86 prior starts with the Angels and continued to do so as he progressed to bullpen sessions with the Dodgers last year. Then, to the surprise of the team's coaches, he arrived in spring training and began pitching out of the windup, explaining it as a way to feel more athletic and less stagnant while coming off a second repair of his ulnar collateral ligament. As an added benefit, others noted, it would force him to incorporate more of his lower half and thus place less stress on his right arm. The process played out methodically. Spring training acted as Ohtani's offseason throwing program, When the team returned from a season-opening trip to Japan around the middle of March, he basically built back up again from scratch. His pitching debut occurred on June 16th, about 2 months earlier than anticipated, because Ohtani preferred to rehab in major league environments. In a one-inning start, Ohtani reached his optimal fastball velocity with ease. It gave him confidence that he could continue to make steps forward. The ensuing weeks only fortified that. Really, the fact that I can pitch and throw pain-free is something I've grown to really be grateful for, Ohtani, speaking through an interpreter, said during the All-Star game. This time around, it's been a lot more smooth, and I'm really happy that I'm able to just do what I've always been able to do. After 1 inning in his first 2 starts, Ohtani increased to 2 innings in his third and fourth, and followed it with back-to-back 3-inning outings. He was scheduled for 4 innings on a humid afternoon in Cincinnati on July 30th, but his lower half cramped, prompting an earlier exit. 7 days later, Ohtani put together his best start of the year against the St. Louis Cardinals, allowing 1 run on 2 batted balls that did not leave the infield, while striking out 8 in 4 innings. The original plan called for him to once again take down 4 innings against the Angels on Wednesday, but the Dodgers, encouraged by his progress, upped it to 5. Ohtani allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the second, then struck out Luis Rengifo with a nasty splitter to begin the 5th. Back-to-back singles and a double followed, placing the tying run in scoring position and prompting Ohtani's exit after a season-high 80 pitches. His ERA stood at 2.74 when the inning began and rose by almost a full run by the time it ended. It was another reminder that Ohtani, while effective and dynamic, is still getting used to this. I don't think he's there yet, Roberts said recently. I think it's only going to get better as he gets more time doing it. Teoscar Hernandez, like many others, spent years wondering how Ohtani prepared as both a hitter and pitcher on his start days. Since becoming his teammate, he has been surprised by the process's simplicity. I thought it was going to take a lot more work for him to get ready for that day, Hernandez said. But I think it's actually less when he's pitching. It's like he's saving a lot of energy for when he has to go on the mound. Roberts has noticed more edge on the days when Ohtani starts, saying he transforms into a different type of person. Pitching takes priority on those days. Hitting is secondary, which seems to come at a cost. Ohtani is slashing .284/.391/.629 with 17 steals and a National League leading 43 home runs this season. Numbers that, without even accounting for his pitching, should put him in line for his 4th MVP in 5 years. But Ohtani is only a .222 hitter on his start days, going 8 for 36 with 17 strikeouts. It's a small sample size, but it might not be a coincidence. When he's pitching, there's an added emphasis, understandably so, on pitching, Roberts said. I don't think there's a better option, as far as not playing him or having somebody else in the lineup. I think that there's a calibration that needs to happen. That's going to happen. The Dodgers coaches organize a one-sheet scouting report tailored to both the opponent and what their starting pitchers prioritize in the days leading up to their start, then convene for a meeting hours before the first pitch. That process is no different for Ohtani, Pryor said. The added element of incorporating hitting takes buy-in from other players, specifically with regard to usage of the indoor batting cages and training rooms. The goal on those days, Pryor added, is to make sure that his day is seamless all the way through. Ohtani's consistency and efficiency help that cause, but it doesn't take away from the challenge of it. It's really difficult, Dodgers starter Blake Snell said. It's tough to focus on both because it's so much work getting ready for a pitcher, knowing what they can do. He has to know that, and he needs to know every hitter, too. So it's extremely difficult. I think it's going to take time for him to figure out his ways of, how am I going to do this? Even if the offensive production on his start days has been relatively scant, Ohtani's presence in the lineup has been significant. In the third inning of his 8th start on August 6, he hit a 2-run homer that temporarily gave the Dodgers the lead. In the first inning of his 9th start a week later, he led off with a triple, then came around to score. The Dodgers lost both of those games, a product of a bullpen that is exceedingly shorthanded and an offense that has been too inconsistent to make up for it. Even as a fully formed two-way player, Ohtani can't do it all by himself, and the Dodgers wouldn't let him anyway. Every inning, it seems, has a cost. For me, my eyes, first-year pitching again. What we're doing right now. Essentially, it's house money, Robert said. It's additive, being a two-way player. We have to be mindful of Shohei now, and also going forward. There are 6 weeks left in the 2025 MLB season, and after it seemed as if some of baseball's top teams were running away with their divisions early on, we've seen those leads shrink to, in some cases, 0. In the National League West, we've seen the Dodgers' commanding lead be erased entirely, as the Padres now lead their rivals by 1 game atop the division, and with a series between the two coming up this weekend. The same has happened in the American League West, with the Astros overtaking the Mariners earlier in the season and building a cushion atop the division, only to see that disappear as Seattle has won 8 of its last 10 games to be just 1 game back from Houston. Meanwhile, the Brewers have built a comfortable lead in the NL Central and atop the majors with the best record in all of baseball, after overtaking the Cubs late last month thanks to a number of winning streaks, including the current 12-game one. Our expert panel has ranked every team based on a combination of what we've seen so far and what we already knew going into the 162-game marathon that is a full baseball season. We also asked ESPN MLB experts Buster Olney, Alden Gonzalez, and Jesse Rogers to weigh in with an observation for all 30 teams. Sometimes there just aren't enough words to describe how a team is doing what it is doing. It becomes less about talent. And don't get me wrong, Milwaukee is talented, and more about belief and confidence. The Brewers are riding that high right now, believing every time they step on the field, this is their game. But it still takes production to win, and during their latest win streak, Bryce Turang and William Contreras have led them with big hit after big hit. Contreras has been playing top-level baseball over the past 2 weeks, hitting 6 home runs in the span of 12 games, while Turang hit 6 in 11. Milwaukee looks unstoppable right now. Ranger Suarez has been dominant on the road this season, but imploded against the Reds on Tuesday when he gave up 10 hits and 6 runs in 5 1/3 innings. That game raised Philadelphia's starting rotation ERA to over 4.00 since the All-Star break. It's probably not much of a concern as the Phillies have more important days ahead of them, so getting Suarez, Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, and Jesus Luzardo ready for the postseason should be number 1 on the team's to-do list. A comfortable lead in the division will help that cause come September, as Shane Bieber finishes his minor league rehabilitation and prepares to join the Toronto rotation. Manager John Schneider and his staff will have some choices. They could go to a 6-man rotation, maybe temporarily, to give the team's veteran starters a little extra rest in the last weeks of the season. Or they could shift someone to the bullpen. Lefty Eric Lauer has been a revelation for the Jays this year, posting a 3.36 ERA in 13 starts, but he has the most experience out of the pen among the Toronto starters. Brock Stewart, the Dodgers' big deadline addition to the bullpen, is dealing with shoulder inflammation and was placed on the injured list Tuesday, where he joined 5 other high-leverage relievers. Manager Dave Roberts is once again short on options to hold leads late, but his offense has also been too inconsistent to routinely obtain leads in the first place. And oftentimes when the lineup produces, that day's starting pitcher does not. The Dodgers have been a sub-.500 team since the start of July and can't do much right these days, which might make this a really bad time for them to host the surging Padres this weekend. As the Tigers try to hold off Cleveland down the stretch, they will have to defend first place head-to-head. 6 of Detroit's final 12 games in the regular season are against the Guardians, at home September 16-18, and in Cleveland September 23-25. But according to Fangraphs, only 3 teams, the Yankees, Cubs, and Dodgers, face a weaker schedule than the Tigers over the last quarter of the season. The Mariners won their 8th consecutive game Tuesday night and moved into a first-place tie with Houston in the AL West, marking the first time since the start of June that they've held a share of the division lead. The Mariners, now a game back after Wednesday's loss, have won 9 of 11 since the front office made a multitude of win-now moves at the trade deadline and will spend these next 6+ weeks gunning for their first division title since 2001. They'll get some additional help, too, with Bryce Miller rejoining the rotation soon and Victor Robles settling back atop the lineup shortly thereafter. The vibes in Seattle are on another level right now. Chicago might have to focus on a wildcard spot, as an offensive slump combined with the Brewers' hot streak has tanked the Cubs' percentages to win the division. The good news is the starting staff has kept them above water, ranking first in ERA since the All-Star break. But a power outage in the middle of the order is concerning. Kyle Tucker, who might still be feeling the aftereffects of a jammed finger suffered on June 1st, has just a handful of extra base hits since the calendar turned to July. The power lull has seemingly infected everyone in the lineup, outside of rookie Matt Shaw. Michael King made his long-awaited return to the Padres' rotation Friday, and though it resulted in an ineffective 2-inning outing, the fact that he was there in the first place was a major development for a Padres team that seems to be rounding into the best version of itself for the season's stretch run. The lineup, bolstered by the additions of Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn, and Freddie Fermin, once again looks deep. The bullpen, fortified by the addition of Mason Miller, is one of the game's best. The rotation is as close to whole as it has been all year. And now the Padres are poised to take down the Dodgers in the NL West. The Astros find themselves in a tight division race with the surging Mariners and will have to try to fend Seattle off, at least in the near term, without their star closer, Josh Hader, who landed on the IL on Tuesday with what the team described as a shoulder strain. The Astros still don't know the severity of the injury, but manager Joe Espada called it a punch to the gut. Hader converted his first 25 save chances this season and sports a 2.05 ERA, with 76 strikeouts in 52 and 2/3 innings. Brian Abreu can be a capable closer in the meantime, but Hader's absence significantly weakens the entirety of the bullpen. It seems appropriate that Roman Anthony wears no. 19 for the Red Sox, since his immediate impact is similar to the work of another Red Sox player who wore no. 19. Fred Lynn, the 1975 Rookie of the Year and MVP. Anthony has a 135 OPS plus with an on-base percentage of .399 in 53 games. And, like Lynn in his rookie season, Anthony has quickly become a core piece of Boston's offense. A collective slump at the plate since late July has been maddening for New York, although Pete Alonso, setting the franchise record for home runs, was a recent bright spot. Maybe the Mets will look back at their 13-5 win over Atlanta on Tuesday, when Alonso set the mark, as a turning point. Right now, you could throw a dart at their roster, and you'll probably hit a player who is struggling at the plate. That does actually include Alonso, who has an OBP under .250 since the All-Star break. Francisco Lindor might be the most frustrated of the group, as he's hitting .188 over his last 23 games. As he and Alonso go, so do the Mets. They're too good to continue on the pace they were on before Tuesday. Some of New York's trade deadline acquisitions started out their Yankees campaigns infamously, with that ugly game in Miami. But in the past 8 days, reliever David Bednar has provided some stability for the bullpen, twice making 5-out appearances, while striking out 12 in 7 innings over that span. Manager Aaron Boone has more to figure out about his bullpen, but he seems to have settled on a closer. A starting staff that ranks 4th in the NL in ERA got a boost with the return of Hunter Green from injury. Could that be the difference-maker Cincinnati needs to make a playoff push? It might be a moot point if the Reds don't hit enough. Every few games, they show signs of being capable of a potent defense, but then they revert to lower-scoring days, as they did last week in losing 3 games while scoring a total of just 3 runs. Miguel Andujar came up big over the past 7 days, compiling an OPS over 1.300. The Reds need more contributions like that. Cleveland has won 21 of its past 30 games, thriving through a period in which it lost closer Emmanuel Clace to a leave of absence related to a gambling investigation, traded Shane Bieber, who had been expected to join the Cleveland rotation down the stretch, and listened to offers for Stephen Kwan. The Guardians' improbable surge is reminiscent of that of the 2024 Tigers. The Rangers won their 2nd consecutive game against the Yankees on August 5, at which point they stood just a half game back of a playoff spot. It seemed then as if the 2023 World Series champs, a team that has spent most of the time since searching for some consistent defense, were finally poised to make their move. Then Texas slipped once more, getting swept at home by the Phillies and totaling just 7 runs over the course of a 4-game losing streak. The Rangers are running out of time to showcase the consistent baseball they still believe they're capable of. Is this the real Jordan Walker? Has he finally arrived? Okay, that might be over the top for a .233 hitter, but he has been on a nice run since the All-Star break, hitting around .300, though with just 1 home run. More recently, he had an 8-4, 16 stretch that included back-to-back 3-hit games. His development is part of the Cardinals' big-picture strategy for the season, which has been all about allowing their young players to succeed or fail without looking over their collective shoulders too much. Outside of going on the IL due to appendicitis, Walker has had that opportunity. Could 2026 finally be the year for the 23-year-old? Stay tuned.
Once the NFL season ends, I give myself 4 opportunities to make predictions for the following year. Last year, I went 4 for 4 in the AFC Division Champions, 2 for 4 in the NFC. I did get Washington was my surprise team in the NFL. Nailed it to make the playoffs. I predicted Denver was the easiest team to double their win total. I don't think they quite did, but they were much better. They made the playoffs. So I felt pretty good about last year. It's hard. You're not going 8 for 8. AFC is much easier than the NFC. But, I do think now that you watch OTAs and rookie camp and you get consensus opinions from camps on what rookies are crushing, who's hurt, who's injured. So you ready to go? Fire away, buddy. Here we go. This is my final big tweak, my NFL predictions. We start in the AFC, and most of what I am predicting will stay the same. AFC East, Bills are going to win it. Patriots are my most improved team in the NFL, will be a wild card team. They've had a very good camp. Dolphins, coming out now as we predicted, the culture, the accountability, Mike McDaniel saying it must improve. We said that and we got nothing but you know what from Dolphin fans. The coach says it and everybody says, well, of course. The Jets, I just structurally, I have no idea. They're 4th. We go to the AFC North. It's going to stay the same. Bengals, Joe Burrow's had a great camp. That's promising because they've been a slow starting team. Ravens are the best operation, arguably, in the sport. Steelers have not been impressive. Once again, can't run the ball in camp or in the season. Cleveland's trying to get a number 1 pick next year. Shadur's going to start. Mark my word. Probably finish 4th, but they'll be an interesting 4th-place team. That stays the same. My first change, not a major one, I am going to move the Jags into the 2nd spot. They've had a very good camp. Travis Hunter has been effective on both sides. Trevor Lawrence has had a very good camp. Lee and Coleman and him are on the same page. Brian Thomas year 2. And this has mostly been about the Titans, who I think they have the quarterback and the coach for the future, but they've acknowledged, both the quarterback and the coach are acknowledging the offense is struggling. They probably have the worst receiving core in the league. So I think Tennessee will be a fun watch, and I really like Cam Ward, but Trevor Lawrence is healthy, offensive coach, between Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter in the camp. They've upgraded their O-line. I'm going to put them at 2nd. Titans 3rd, Colts 4th. And AFC West, I am flipping the Broncos and the Chargers. Mekhi Becton is banged up. Rashawn Slater out for the year on the offensive line. Joe Alt's going to have to change positions. Offensive line, which was a concern, is now once again a bigger concern than last year. They still also have a couple of receivers that are young that can't consistently catch. I think all of these are legitimate concerns. Denver maybe has the best camp so far in the league. Every reporter that's been there. Wow. Also, they picked up a running back, R.J. Harvey, in the 2nd round. He's had a great camp. Sean Payton is raving about him. So I think Kansas City's a good team. I think they're not going to go 11-0 in 1-score games. So Bills, Ravens, Texans, Broncos now winning their divisions. Patriots, Bengals, Chiefs are playoff teams. Patriots, Bengals, new playoff teams. We go to the NFC. The East remains the same. Eagles, Commanders, Giants, Cowboys. I just don't think I don't think the Cowboys are very good. I don't like the staff. I do think they'll be interesting, but that's an Eagles division. I know everybody says, well, it flip-flops. I wouldn't be shocked if the Commanders won the division, but they've been noisy. Terry McLaurin holdout, noisy. Don't love that. But Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, and the staff are too good to fall to third, so that stays the same. NFC North, major change. Green Bay, quiet camp. I don't worry about Jordan Love's non-throwing hand injury yesterday. The Lions, I'm dropping them to second. I think their roster and O-line and quarterback and culture is too good not to be a playoff team in the NFC. Bears have been the noisiest camp. I don't trust it, but I know more about the Bears than I do J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. So I am taking the Bears from second to third, the Lions from first to second. And the more I look at Green Bay, they love their first-round pick, the more I like the Packers. Do not worry about Jordan Love's non-throwing hand. He will start week 1. And then in the NFC South, it stays the same. Falcons, Bucks are both teams capable of making the playoff. I think the best quarterback in division is Baker Mayfield. It's a workable schedule. I love their GM. They could make a move at the trade deadline. Overall, the Saints are one of the worst teams. The Bucks are always feisty. Baker Mayfield playing with more maturity. I'm going to take them to win the division again. And then I have a change. The Rams have had a bumpy camp. Matt Stafford's not practicing. I know. And their left tackle, their best offensive lineman or second best, Alaric Jackson, not practicing. Blood clots. Well, with an old quarterback in Matt Stafford, yeah, I'm concerned that the left tackle again has blood clots and is not practicing. Rob Havenstein could be playing his last year at right tackle. So that worries me. It has been a bumpy camp with a left tackle and a quarterback not practicing. I'm not saying not playing, not practicing. I'll move the Niners from 4th to 3rd, even though they've got massive wide receiver grouping injuries. And I'm going to put Seattle. This is my shocker. I think Seattle's going to win the division. Gray Zabel, that offensive lineman, their first pick, has been a dog in practice. So the Eagles, Packers, Bucks, and Seahawks are the division winners. Commanders, Lions, and Rams are the playoff teams. So it matters. I'm sorry, if your quarterback who's old and your left tackle are not practicing, especially the left tackle issue, it worries me. And remember, of all the good teams in the league last year, go look at point differential for the Rams. Ravens blew a lot of people out. Bills blew a lot of people out. Lions blew a lot of people out. Eagles blew a lot of people out. Rams won a lot of close games. Left tackle not practicing. Stafford banged up, bad back. It worries me.
I've never been able to figure out team valuations. So Sportico, not Forbes, my bad. Sportico came out with a list of NFL team valuations. Now, there's obviously the size of the city matters a lot. Number 1 was the Dallas Cowboys. They are kind of the Yankees. Although I tend to think America's team right now is the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City, San Francisco, and then Dallas. There was a time in my life I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s were America's team. So for our radio audience, I'm not going to read all of them, but it goes like Cowboys, Rams, obviously LA. SoFi Stadium is a magnificent facility. Giants, Patriots, Boston, San Francisco, Eagles, Dolphins, Jets. I get all of them. Here's what's amazing. The Chiefs are only 16 because the game day revenue, it's just a smaller market. I am always amazed at how overvalued the Dolphins are, and I'll tell you why. It's a distracted market with the world's best beaches, arguably, a transient market, and the average incomes are $55,000 per fan. So that's not a lot of money for game day revenue. I've never understood that. It's a very distracted transient market that doesn't necessarily always draw well. It's not a corporate hub. So when you look, this is why I don't get valuations. It's not a knock on Miami, but where are the Minnesota Vikings? They're not in the top half. It's a corporate hub. No competition from a beach or even a college football program to take, money away or people away. It's not a highly transient market. Yeah, look, they have the Vikings below Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Miami. Is anybody ever been to Minnesota? It's like got some of the highest, most educated people, highly corporate, good annual revenues. You're not distracted. Maybe the best stadium in the league. Every seat is taken. They have very good local, radio revenues. I have never figured this out. Like, I lived in Tampa. It's not a corporate hub, meaning Minnesota can go to its corporations and sell tens of thousands of tickets and suites. You're not doing that in Tampa. When I lived in Tampa, there was only one Fortune 500 company. It was Raymond James, the investment bank or investment firm. So Tampa's not a corporate hub. Miami's bigger than Tampa in terms of corporate, and Miami's also exploding in terms of tech growth. But, I mean, you're telling me Minnesota and the Titans are close? I don't understand it. Same thing in baseball. Everybody's always like, Minnesota's a small market team. Look at the corporations in Minnesota. It's right in the middle of the country, one of the best airports, and there's all sorts of corporate money there, meaning there's a lot of executives, there's a lot of money. I don't get it. I just have never understood this. The Minnesota Vikings are essentially the Kansas City Chiefs without Mahomes. They've always been well run, always been well capitalized, had a lot of great coaches. I mean, my staff put this down. Just these alone, Target based there, General Mills, United Healthcare, they're all headquartered in Minneapolis. An average salary for fans, it's got to be one of the top 10 in the league. I don't get it. I don't get valuations. I do get Bo Nix, who was only ranked 20th among NFL execs in the Mike Sando annual athletic poll. I asked, he showed more arm strength, quite honestly, than I thought he had coming out of Oregon. Yeah, I don't get the shade with Bo Nix, so. But I will tell you, if Caleb Williams can play, and again, I'll show it at the top of the hour. If you got 15% improvement with Caleb Williams, the numbers will be, he'll complete 71% of his throws. But Bo Nix can play. Drake May can absolutely play. Jaden Daniels is a star. I'm a strong believer in Michael Penix. I have my doubts on J.J. McCarthy, but he has such a strong support system with the Vikings and O'Connell and the receiving core. We may have a 6-for-6 class if Caleb Williams can play, a 5-for-5 or a 6-for-6 class. Cam Ward's going to work. I don't know to what level he'll work. And what's interesting next year is Cade Klubnik for Clemson is the real deal. Folks, he is big. He can move. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's really good. 5-star high school kid, been great at Clemson. Arch Manning can play. Drew Aller can play to some level. We got 3 guys I absolutely believe are franchise quarterbacks. I don't know about the kid at South Carolina. I'm not quite sure about Nussmeier at LSU. Let's say they improve, they get 15 more starts, and they improve, and they become first-round picks. That means like 2 out of the last 3 years, we could have 5 to 6 first-round level quarterbacks. And I'm going to tell you, when I watch the kid at Clemson, I watch Arch Manning and Drew Aller, there's a lot to like. There is a ton. And listen, Bo Nix, people had doubts on. Bo Nix can play. Absolutely can play. All right, Colin, I know you're very excited about the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation. Well, Shedeur, obviously very good in the opening preseason game, but he will miss this weekend. Dylan Gabriel will get his first action. Remember, he's been out with a hammy. And here's what he had to say, the young quarterback from Oregon.
Welcome to the Code Podcast. Join Kennedy Lucas, Terry Lester, and Jackson Smith as they break down the biggest plays, share locker room banter, and keep it 100 on sports hot takes. Gear up, because this is where the real talk begins. Cause this is where the real talk begins. real talk begins. Gear up.